All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Before we get started, I want to send all of you thank you for your tremendous support. People are slowly but surely finding out about who we are and what we do. They enjoy and respect the passion with which we speak. But as we always say here at Chin Check Sports Radio, we do this because we love it, as we are simply sharing our passions with you all as we continue to build our listening army to take over the world. We at Chin Check Sports Radio are your go-to on YouTube for Dallas Cowboys coverage, specifically during the NFL season, but even including the offseason. And boy, haven't the Cowboys made the news after their playoff loss against the San Francisco 49ers. Head coach Mike McCarthy is doing his best Vince McMahon impression, so McCarthy McMahon with Vinnie Mac's famous words, "You're fired," which is what he has been doing in Dallas. He has been chopping off coaches and removing coaches and not removing contracts, and definitely he is going to go out swinging. But of course, we're going to give our 10 cents on the matter. So from the Cowboys roster, the offensive line coach Joe Philbin is gone. The running backs coach Skip Peete is gone. Senior defensive assistant George Edwards is gone. Assistant head coach Rob Davis is gone. Control analytics coach Kyle Valero is gone. Assistant defensive line coach Leon Lett is gone. QB coach Doug Nussmeier is gone. And the biggest person to leave the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff is offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. Now, we do have our thoughts on this. We understand why Mike McCarthy is doing this, but we're going to disagree with some of the people being let go. We're going to start with the offensive line coach, Joe Philbin. Joe Philbin, we believe, has done an excellent job shuffling or infusing youth with the veterans and a constant shuffling of the offensive line. We're going to give him credit in developing Terrence Steele before his injury to a Pro Bowl caliber right tackle. We will give him credit that Tyler Smith, question marks arriving with him in Dallas, who is supposed to be playing at offensive guard due to an unforeseen injury. Well, we've seen these injuries before, but due to an injury, was forced out as a rookie right tackle and played very well, very admirable. At some point, we have to give the credit to coaching. Tyler Biadasz, we were very skeptical of him. We had our doubts. Tyler Biadasz played well. You saw when he didn't play or missed a game or two, the offense was not the same. So we're talking Tyler Biadasz in 2020. Terrence Steele was an undrafted free agent. You had to move at one point Zach Martin back out to tackle. Obviously, constant injuries with Tyron Smith. Now, obviously, Connor Williams is gone. You had Connor McGovern there. And what's funny with the Cowboys, a serious question mark going into the season actually turned out to be a really unexpected strength for the team. Again, rookie left tackle, again, protecting the quarterback's blind side. Played very well right there as a Pro Bowl caliber tackle. You had Connor McGovern. There were question marks about his performance. He played, I thought we felt decent. Tyler Biadasz played well. Hall of Famer Zach Martin, and the fact that Tyler Smith played so well when future Hall of Famer Tyron Smith came back to the team or came back to play, he was shifted out to right tackle. So again, infusing youth with experience as well as playing Russian roulette with offensive linemen or playing roulette with offensive linemen. Also with Terrence Steele going down. So Joe Philbin, do we think he deserved to lose his job? No. They blocked very well for, obviously, Tony Pollard because Zeke does not have anymore, and we'll get to him later on. Blocked very well for Tony Pollard. Think about it, when Cooper Rush played, Cooper Rush had a clean jersey. So the offensive line played very well, and the credit has to go to the offensive line coach. So we didn't think that offensive line was necessarily a problem for the team this season. Running backs coach Skip Peete. We're talking the guy who coached Ezekiel. Did he coach Ezekiel Elliott? I believe he did. Yes, he was on the Jason Garrett era. He oversaw the rise of Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard had a career year. It is not Skip Pete's fault that a running back in Ezekiel Elliott has hit the proverbial wall. That's not his fault. Clearly, when you watch the games going back to last season, Tony Pollard was the more explosive of the two. He was a home run hitter. He got more positive yards. It was definitely more than obvious, crystal clear, whatever cliche you want to use, that Tony Pollard was by far the superior back over Ezekiel Elliott. You saw by far when Tony Pollard got the ball in his hands, magic happened. When Zeke got the ball in his hands, things did not happen. Zeke has now been reduced from a home run hitter to a short yardage back. Zeke is essentially a fullback in the offense. That's not Skip Pete's fault. That's Ezekiel Elliott hitting the wall. Senior defensive assistant George Edwards, who Micah Parsons credits him with his development and growth. Micah Parsons has been an All-Pro in his first 2 seasons. Micah Parsons, who won the Rookie Defensive Player of the Year, is in the running for the Defensive Player of the Year. Let's look at the work that he did, also helping to develop Sam Williams and Dorrance Armstrong. So maybe that wasn't a problem there either. Assistant defensive line coach Leon Lett is a Cowboy, a very good player for the Cowboys during the 90s. Of course, outside of Dallas, he is most known for the Super Bowl 27 when the Cowboys had a big-time lead. They were up 52-17. Picks up a fumble. Before he gets to the end zone, he starts to hot dog it. The ball gets knocked out of his hand for a touchback by the trailing wide receiver Don Beebe. And people always tend to bring that play up, but they tend to forget the Cowboys is winning that game 52-17. And I believe had Leon Lett scored, that would have been the widest margin ever in Super Bowl history. So that's the only thing. It didn't cost the Cowboys a game. If anything, everybody laughed about it. So it is what it is. The very next year, playing against the Miami Dolphins on Thanksgiving in the snow in Dallas, a classic game. The field goal gets blocked. Leon Lett mistakenly, carelessly runs towards ball, slips on the patch of ice. The Dolphins are covered, and they kick the game-winning field goal. So most people only know Leon Lett for those 2 things, but Leon Lett was a solid interior defensive lineman on the same line with the Tony Tolberts and Russell Marylands and Charles Haley's. Definitely was the unsung hero on the Cowboys defense, really the Cowboys defense as a whole during that 1990s run. QB coach Doug Nussmeier is gone, and again, Kellen Moore is gone. Now, with Kellen Moore, who recently was picked up by the Los Angeles Chargers. Cowboys fans who were clamoring to see this man fired. Now, again, we have been critical of Kellen Moore ourselves. We go back to the excellent job that he did when Dak was hurt, simplifying the playbook for one Cooper Rush, going 4-1, and really in that one was having that bad game against the Philadelphia Eagles, throwing the 3 interceptions. But we felt that he did an excellent job, and again, we have to give credit to Mike McCarthy as well. He did an excellent job in scaling down the playbook during Dak Prescott's absence. When Dak Prescott came back, of course, you have to justify his high salary. You want to put the ball in his hands, and things just didn't work out. The numbers showed that when the Cowboys ran the ball more, the probability went up to win football games. We only can go by the numbers. However, was it Kellen Moore's fault that Dak Prescott was throwing all those interceptions? Let's go back to Green Bay. Was it Kellen Moore's fault that he had a 28-14 lead and blew the lead? Okay, at Lambeau, you can make an argument. Why did they stop running the football? Dak had some bad picks. Let's go back to the game in Jacksonville. Dak had some bad picks. Let's go back to people who bring up the Washington Commanders game. Hey, that's just a bad game. Every team has that. You can go back to the game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the first game of the season. They did nothing offensively. Dak threw the interceptions in the San Francisco game. So if you want to lay blame at the feet of Kellen Moore, maybe should have taken the ball out of Dak's hands. But this is the same team, the same ownership and coaching staff who said that they want Dak to remain aggressive. So, but again, he still led an offense, a team that went 12-5 in back-to-back years, that had a top 5, at worst, top 10 scoring offense. So the Cowboys offense, yes, they had some of their days where they were just lackadaisical and loafing around, and a part of that is due to Dak Prescott's slow starts, and that was specifically during the 2021 season. You go back to the 2022 season, his just heavens awful turnovers. So we're gonna say that if you're polling us, we're really not sure or really disagree. Now, you look at the playoff games, very low offensive output, but is that really on the offensive coordinator, or is that on Dak Prescott, who had a slow start against the 49ers in the wild card game at the end of the 2021 season? Now, we specifically stated that he couldn't have a slow start, and against the 49ers again in the 2022 playoffs when he had 2 interceptions, where we said he couldn't have those interceptions. Now, again, Kellen Moore was seen as a genius when he called an excellent game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the wild card round. So how do we go from genius to not having a job a week later? That's the nature of the NFL. Now, let us say this about Mike McCarthy. What Mike McCarthy just did, and is, from all appearances, he's going to be the play caller. The clock has now started on the tenure of the coaching career of Mike McCarthy as the head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Because again, let's look at it one of two ways. You can look at it as the Cowboys had 2 disappointing playoff exits. That's one way to look at it, and you will not be incorrect. But another way to look at it is the Cowboys have improved the last couple years. This is the team in 2020 that did not qualify for the playoffs due to injuries, due to a poor defense. In 2021, they lost the wild card round. In 2022, they won in the wild card round and lost in the divisional round. So, the next step for Mike McCarthy to keep his job, this Cowboys team next year better at least advance to the NFC Championship game. So we understand why Mike McCarthy is doing this. We understand. If you know you're on a hot seat, and maybe that hot seat might have cooled a little bit since now we're getting word that former New Orleans Saints head coach Sean Payton is now going to be the head coach of the Denver Broncos, because you always heard those whispers and rumors that Jerry Jones is ready to boot Mike McCarthy for one Sean Payton. So maybe Mike McCarthy might have jumped the gun in making all these changes. Who knows? But now that option is no longer on the table for Mike McCarthy to be replaced. So it looks like we're going to be with McCarthy for a little while now. Jerry Jones stated he wanted Mike McCarthy to have a tenure similar to Tom Landry. I don't think that's going to happen without any Super Bowls. But Mike McCarthy, the clock starts. That team needs to advance at least to the NFC Championship game to justify all these changes. If Mike McCarthy, I guess, is going to go out, he's going to go out on his own shield. He's going to go out swinging, doing it his way. He was the play caller in Green Bay. He was very successful as a play caller in Green Bay. Yes, he has a Super Bowl. Folks will say the Super Bowl was so long ago. We already broke the numbers down. Sean Payton won his Super Bowl a year before Mike McCarthy did his. So while they're rolling out the red carpet for Sean Payton, Mike McCarthy won his a year after Sean Payton. So yes, Mike McCarthy does deserve his criticism. But again, his 3 seasons in Dallas, he's been to the playoffs twice. He's gone 12-4, and he's actually won a playoff game. So you can look at it, half a dozen in one is 6 in the other. Glass half empty, glass half full. But Mike McCarthy, that is going to have to take this team next year to the NFC Championship game to justify all these coaching changes. It's that simple. With Dan Quinn coming back as a defensive coordinator, it's looking like Dan Quinn is going to handle the defensive side since he already has head coaching experience as head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Mike McCarthy is going to run the offense, and that seems, and of course you're going to have other, your QB coaches and quote offensive coordinators in title or assistant quality control, whatever fancy titles that they want to come up with. But it's just going to come down to Mike McCarthy calling the offense. Is he going to take the ball out of Dak's hands? He's going to take the ball out of Dak's hands. Is he going to stay with running the football, a running formula, because that is a formula for success? Dak Prescott cannot have the ball in his hands. He is known. We have already seen it. He is going to throw interceptions. There's no other way to slice it. Dak can tell me he can bring the numbers down. To bring those numbers down, you have to run the football. Let's go back to 2016, Dak's rookie year, they ran the football. Let's go to 2018, they ran the football. Let's go back to the 2014 season. DeMarco Murray had almost, I think, over 1,800 yards rushing. They ran the football. So the success of the Dallas Cowboys is predicated on the running game. Stop making Dak Prescott more than what he is. He is a good quarterback. We've said this. He is not the top-tier quarterback. He is a good quarterback, a very good quarterback, above-average quarterback, but that top tier, that elite quarterback, the two of them played in the AFC Championship game. Some other Cowboys news, free agents. Now, the Cowboys, of course, are going to have some decisions to make when it comes to letting guys walk and paying guys. Number one, Leighton Vander Esch. Either we have two options, because, again, I'm not going to jump on the Van Der Esch train here that people are going to forget the sins of the past. He had an excellent rookie season. You can make an argument he should have been in the Pro Bowl as a rookie. He had interceptions. I mean, he played phenomenal. And really, we haven't gotten much sense out of Leighton Vander Esch. They actually declined his fifth-year option due to his poor play and injuries. He was injured again this year. So his play, now he'll make a play here and there at a key moment, and we'll give him that. But his overall body of work, it leaves a lot to be desired in Dallas. So he can either sign a one-year deal, because, again, he's the type of guy we're going to have to sign him on prove-it one-year deals. I'm sorry, because I am extremely hesitant to give him a long-term contract because we have a history of injuries. So he can sign maybe another 1 or 2 year deal. If he doesn't want to take that, let him walk. Donovan Wilson. He had a Pro Bowl caliber year, which just so happens to be in a contract year. I'm a little bit hesitant to break him off a lot of money. Again, now, yes, at Chin Check Sports Radio, we are pro athletes getting all the money that they deserve, getting all the money that they earn on their skills and accomplishments. So that still doesn't change. We're just analyzing this as fans of the Dallas Cowboys and things that will make the team's success in the future obviously sustainable. Now, let's go back to Donovan Wilson. Folks, Cowboys fans, if you're listening, let's go back to 2007. Safety Ken Hamlin had a great season. Named to a Pro Bowl, got a huge contract out of Jerry Jones. Cowboys fans, can you tell me what the hell we got for our money in terms of Ken Hamlin production? I'll wait. Yeah, okay, that's the Crickets. Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard clearly was our best back this season. And, of course, he's dealing with an injury. Now, Tony Pollard has a bit of an injury history. Was banged up a little bit in 2021, was banged up in 2022, missed the game, unfortunately got hurt in the playoff game, ended up with, obviously, a fractured leg or broken leg or broken ankle. So, of course, we don't know how long he's going to be out, again, surgery and rehab. So we expect him to be back, but he's going to be that same explosive player. This is why you listen to us at Chin Check Sports Radio. We have been beating the drum that the Dallas Cowboys should already have drafted Ezekiel Elliott's replacement at the beginning of last season. And people thought that we were joking around, and now you see it's going to come back to haunt us again. Folks, if it's not obvious, Ezekiel Elliott is stealing and wasting good money from the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, he earned the contract. We're paying you for what you did and future production. However, the production since signing the contract has not been there. Again, the man is a glorified fullback. He's a short yardage back. I only got 900 yards. The explosion is not there. The speed is not there. Making guys miss is not there. Hey, it is what it is. Zeke said he's already willing to take a pay cut. He sees the writing on the wall. I am willing to let Ezekiel Elliott walk. Yes, I know it is a shocker, but I'm willing to let Ezekiel Elliott walk and draft his replacement in this draft this coming April. Dalton Schultz. We're actually okay with letting him walk. Solid player for the Cowboys. We hope he makes his money elsewhere, but I think with the two guys that we have, Jay Ferguson and one Peyton Hendershot, I think the Cowboys will be okay. Big Jonathan Hankins. We traded for him from the Oakland Raiders for a 6th-round pick. Very solid. You saw how the run game kind of suffered during his absence when he tore his pectoral muscle. Came back against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, came back against the 49ers, played very well. So give him definitely, I would say, a 2-year deal, see what he does. I'm very disappointed in Quentin Bohanna. I thought big boy out of Kentucky would be more dominant through inconsistent play and injuries. So he's going to have another year to prove us something in the middle. If not, Quentin Bohanna needs to go. Neville Gallimore, solid player on the inside, but I didn't see the type of dominating as an interior lineman. I didn't see that. So what that tells me, when you trade for a guy like Hankins, that means your run defense, that means guys are not in their gaps, guys are getting pushed off the ball, and that is not good. We like Carlos Watkins. We thought he actually played very well in the San Francisco game, but he ended up getting injured. I say you bring him back on a one-year deal. I'm okay with bringing T.Y. Hilton back. I'm not concerned about Michael Gallup. I know Cowboys fans were upset at the level of production with Michael Gallup. We think he was rushed back too soon on the ACL tear because, of course, everybody freaked out about having a receiver. They had just let Amari Cooper go, so they signed Michael Gallup, so they made their choice to marry Michael Gallup. I'm okay with that. He was a cheaper option. I'm willing to let this season go. I think he'll be back bigger and stronger next year. He is their deep threat. Again, people after an ACL, it takes them a full year to recover. I know that guys come back after 8-9 months, but it's clearly not the same. And we think Gallup will be back. He was there on some plays, so we think that he'll definitely be okay. For draft needs, the Cowboys are saying, do they need another cornerback? What do we do with Anthony Brown? Have a blessed day, Anthony Brown. Your parting gets you out the door. Obviously, draft a running back. They can always use another cornerback in the draft. We love Deron Bland. We thought Deshaun Wright played very well, so we're actually okay at cornerback. I don't think cornerback is in need. Of course, if a good to great cornerback is there in the draft, you definitely draft him. I'm actually okay with that. Start drafting these guys second, third, fourth round because history tells when the Cowboys draft on the offensive side, the players turn out to be very well. On the defensive side, besides Micah Parsons, they don't draft well on defense in the first round. They find a lot of their defenders second, third, fourth round. So if they want to get a solid cornerback, you can get one in the second, third round. I think first round, maybe get you an offensive lineman, continue a youth movement. Zach Martin is getting a little bit longer in the tooth. So, start building for the future with your offensive line. And obviously, you can always use some more pass. We can never have too much pass rushers. You still got Micah Parsons. He's definitely going to be who he is. You got DeMarcus Lawrence, who I'm still trying to figure out how he made a Pro Bowl, but it is what it is. You have Dorrance Armstrong with 8 sacks. You have Sam Williams. I believe he contributed with about 4.5, 5 sacks, so he should only get better. So there's nothing wrong with having another pass rush. Dante Fowler, sir, your party gets you out the door. So these are some of the things that the Cowboys can do. And, of course, plans change as we enter free agency. We'll see what the Cowboys do. But we definitely wanted to touch on these big changes in Big D. And until the next time, it's Chin Check Radio, signing out.